Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. So today's topic is going to be the latest iteration of the Titan events in the game, specifically the one associated with Alice's Adventure, the current campaign going on in Raid, and it is the Tea Party Titan event. How quaint. But we do have some pretty decent offerings this time around, a little bit of a switch up compared to the normal stuff with a bunch of shards and a bunch of split souls and whatnot. I guess you could argue that we have kind of the bad form relative to the souls, where it's an all or nothing if you want the 5-star perfect soul for the Mad Hatter. But along the way, mythical tomes up for grabs, a primal shard, some chaos powder. You have a guaranteed legendary relic for the event dungeon, a void shard, legendary tome, which is a lot very achievable at 960 points. Some powder, some of the basalt that you'll need to upgrade some relics along the way, get a cool avatar frame on tier 3, some energy, some gems, and then you also get the guaranteed epic event relic on top of the one that we also had up for grabs from the first Queen's Fury tournament. So if you have been actively participating in a lot of the freebies that they've been offering for these event relics, you should have at least 2 of the epic ones and then the guaranteed here for the legendary one. So fret not, there is a way for you to guarantee yourself the legendary relic without having to risk it for the biscuit with RNGesus to grant you the relic from fragments or crafting in the forge or whatever. So just like with all non-Yuletide Titan events, there are 1500 points up for grabs in order to max out the entire thing, and there's a 250 point buffer, meaning the maximum amount of points you can earn is 1750, so there is some room to skip some of the events. I believe most people opt to skip some of the summoning events just because those are the most intensive in terms of resources. So in this case, the pros of this particular iteration are that you still get the 5-star soul in the end if you want to go all the way out there. You still get some affordable tomes, relatively speaking. Mythicals are hard to come by, and so you can invest in order to guarantee yourself one mythical tome, and the legendary tome is a lot more attainable because it's only up to milestone 4. Of course, the event relics being guaranteed is super nice too. There's still a void shard along the way, and then for those of you who care about, avatar frames and whatnot, you can get yourself a relatively cheap frame just by participating a little bit in some of the events here and there. I would say on the flip side, the cons here are that there aren't any split souls. So if you wanted a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star for the Mad Hatter, you don't really have an option to stop somewhere along the way. You have to get the 5-star soul or you get nothing at all, which can be a bit of a bummer. There's also no sacred shard up for grabs. There's just a primal, a void, and then an ancient shard somewhere down here, on the first page. And then of course there's always the universal con of this is basically a miniature fusion, so it is going to be fairly resource intensive if you want to go pretty far in it. But as I always say, you can make of these events what you will, meaning you get to select as far as you're willing to go. I think a lot of people would be enticed to just go all the way out to milestone 4 and then kind of stop there. You get the legendary event relic, you get a legendary tome, and you get a void shard at the very least with an immortal soulstone to boot, and then you get the frame as well as the epic relic. And then for those of you like myself, you want to push a bit further, you want to get the mythical tome, you want to bank the primal shard, you care about getting a 5-star blessing on your Mad Hatter if you're using him, for example, in Hydra or something like that, then you're going to have to invest even more resources and try to go all the way out to 1500. For myself, I will be going all the way out to 1500 points like I normally do, just because I do have the resources to pull that off. And plus, I like to highlight how much it actually cost me in terms of supplies and resources in order to get Titan events as well as fusion, so that trend shall continue. And in fact, we might as well hop over to discuss the overall supply count and take a snapshot of my account at the current time. So I'm at 91 million on the silver and then 4,700 on the gems. If you tune in near the end of the Titan event, I will be making a post on my community tab page talking about how much the Titan event actually cost me in terms of my silver, gems, and of course the shards that I'll have to invest in the various events. And speaking of the events, let's talk about some of the current ones going on right now. I know shards can be a big sticking point for a lot of people to actively participate in this, but one of the nice things is the initial shard event is just a basic champion chase, and it's overlapping with 2x Ancient, which is the most accessible form of shard pulling events for the average player, myself included. And so if you wanted to just bank all of the Titan event points up for grabs from this one, it's only going to cost you 3,000 points, which is basically on par with a fusion. And so you would expect on a 2x for that to be around 60 to 70 ancients on average. Aside from that, we also have a spider turn attack going on right now, which is very easy to do relatively quickly if you have a very fast spider team and you're running one of the higher stages in the game, with that being stage 25 on normal or stage 10 on hard mode. And classic arena is basically a gimme if you do do a little bit of Classic Arena every day, you're going to easily max that out. So no worries there. And then actually, surprisingly, I should say, there are no events live yet that feature any of the Titan event points. So that is interesting. But of course, they will be coming over the coming weeks as the Titan event progresses. So yeah, that's going to do it for the free-to-play review of the Tea Party Titan event. Once again, my recommendation is that you at least go out to milestone 4. That's typically where I recommend most people to go, because you don't necessarily have to fully invest in a bunch of shard pulling events and all this craziness in order to get there. You can skip a ton of stuff. Again, there is a maximum of 1,750 points up for grabs. So if you're only going for 1,000, you could skip 750 points worth of events and tournaments, which is a lot that you do not have to do. So just keep that in mind, and I think that's where most people should stop, just to get yourself a good amount of value. But of course, let me know in the comment section down below how far you plan to go out there. I've already told you guys that I do plan to go all the way out to the 1,500. As always, if you did find this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help out the channel. And if you're enjoying the content on this channel, then feel free to hit that subscribe button down below as well for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.